HealingYourself.life provides information for awareness, educational, and support purposes only and does not diagnose or prescribe treatment for any medical condition. Viewers are encouraged to do their own due diligence and consult with their own medical caregivers before making personal treatment decisions. Hey, Reluctant Preppers. I've been promising to give you my story of how I increased my testosterone naturally without any prescriptions or controlled substances or anything that was going to actually decrease my body's ability to naturally create its own testosterone. And this talk is about that. So if you're interested in that, first of all, a couple of disclaimers. One is I am not a doctor, I'm not a medical care provider, and everything that I tried here, I tried from reputable advice that I got from either from different doctors that I'm seeing or master herbalist Stephen Herod Buhner's book. So these are things that I found out from my reading and am willing to share. But everything that I tried out with understanding of talking to my doctor and also based on actual tests of my lab blood levels of hormones that gave my doctor guidance to make sure that it was safe for me to try some of these things and monitor my progress. So all I'm sharing here is my experience, and you can take this information, but I would suggest you check with your healthcare provider and get the tests that you need to see if this might be helpful for you. Also, I'm not representing any products here. The things that I'm going to show you are things that I've tried, and if they were helpful to me, but you can get any brand you want, anywhere you want. It makes no difference to me. I'm not going to get anything out of this. So there's no commercial tie-ins here of any kind whatsoever. This is just my experience, okay? So first of all, why is male testosterone so important, and why did I start to care about it a lot? And that's because I started to notice symptoms, and there's lots of symptoms that you can get from low testosterone. First thing I noticed was a lot of reduction in my muscle mass and loss of strength. No matter how hard I tried to work out, I couldn't get to maintain my muscle mass. Kept losing, just wasting away, as well as losing strength that I just couldn't get back. It isn't helpful for people to tell you, oh, you're just not trying hard enough, because if you really are suffering from low testosterone and it's really impairing your ability to get effectiveness from your workouts, that's not a helpful answer, because trying harder isn't going to get you there. Also, I was having night sweats. I don't know if any other men among who are listening to this have experienced that, but where you go to bed, maybe you're feeling perfectly comfortable, normal temperature, the room is normal temperature, everything, and you wake up and you're just in a puddle of sweat. I mean, I would soak the pillow, I would soak the sheets and the blanket. I ended up lying on a beach towel, putting a beach towel over my pillow and a part of my side of the bed, and still you could get the over blanket sweaty, so it's crazy. Also, I was just having poor sleep, just worse sleep, and more frequent nighttime wake-ups, more frequent urgency to urinate during the night especially, but also during the day, and sleep wasn't restful. So in addition to all of that, and partly because of it, more fatigue, just tired during the day, and just always this sense of loss of energy, loss of vitality. And one of the most devastating effects of low testosterone was the loss of libido, sexual energy, and sexual interest, and romantic feelings just were like sapped out of me. And besides not having interest in lots of other things in life, basically being depressed in general, I had no sexual energy. And the worst part about that, the most devastating effects of that, was how it made my beautiful wife feel. She ended up feeling like I wasn't interested in her, not attracted to her anymore, or that I didn't think she was beautiful. Are you kidding me? I'm married to a beautiful woman, and yet I didn't make her feel that way because of my neglect and how I had lost my ability to summon the energy to be expressive, to be romantic, to show sexual energy and attention. It ended up making her feel terrible. And that's just such a destructive and horrible outcome that was such not reflective. The problem was never with her, it was with me and my hormonal imbalances from my low testosterone that were just sapping my energy and not letting me be who I needed to be and be there for her in the way that she deserved and the way she needed to be treated and shown how beautiful she is in my eyes. Or my coworkers or my boss thinking, you know, I was being seeming disengaged or less enthusiastic at work or that sort of thing, and as though I was less interested in the work, and I wasn't less interested in the work, I just didn't have the energy. So the causes are are equally astonishing, and that is that one of the things is this is perfectly natural, and you talk to most doctors, they'll say, yep, after like age 30, there's a certain percentage loss on average of testosterone levels in men every year after approximately age 30. And it's just this downhill slide. It never goes to zero, but it goes really low. And some doctors just say, yep, that's just the way it is. You're going to get more frequent urge to urinate. You're not going to sleep as well, and you're going to lose muscle mass, and that's just part of natural aging cycle. But it doesn't have to be that way, but just to say that that is a phenomenon that can happen with age, and there's things you can do about it. Another thing that can be a cause is low zinc and other key nutrients. There's this incredibly complex cascade of chemical reactions that's always happening within our bodies to maintain our hormone balance. And if anything is missing in that, then that part of the reaction doesn't happen, and it can lead to missing steps later on. And one of those things that I was missing was zinc. So when I saw my doctor, as you've met him several times, Jay Nielsen, MD, and he said, after hearing my complaints, he said, here, taste this. And he poured the solution out and handed it to me, and I swished it around my mouth, and I said, it doesn't taste like much of anything. He said, that's one of the most bitter things you can possibly put in your mouth, because it's a zinc solution, but it takes zinc to taste zinc. So the fact that you can't taste it means you're critically low on zinc. And so a lot of the supplements I started taking right off the bat, and we're going to get to treatments, and that's where to address my low zinc and other key nutrients. Also, we're living in a time of unprecedented disruptive environmental hormone disruptors. So we are surrounded by unnatural materials that we're touching, or either we or our food are touching almost constantly throughout our day, or breathing in, that are interfering with our body's natural hormone levels. So hormone disruptors are often related to plastics, and if you've heard about BPA, bisphenol A, BPA levels, is a huge disruptor that can cause. It was originally developed to be a synthetic estrogen replacement, and so for men in particular, it's very harmful. And there are several ways you can get that. For example, most cheap plastic water bottles that you come in contact with, a lot of plastic food containers and plastic food wraps, plastic packaging of all of our food. If you just think about the food that you had in the last week, how much of it was touched by plastic or served in plastic, and on and on. Also, most people aren't aware that those thermal printed receipts that you get from gas pumps and at the cash register at most stores now as you go out are heavily coated with BPA, this bisphenol A, and that the permeability of your skin is highly affected by, if you've recently used any like hand sanitizer or hand cream or anything like that, it makes it much more likely that that BPA will go from the thermally printed paper through your skin into your bloodstream. Or if you're worst case, just put away your receipt and then go eat French fries and that sort of thing, then you're actually touching the food that you're about to put in your mouth with that chemical. So that's highly disruptive. So also, even the water that we drink, you can check this out yourself, that, for example, the high incidence of female birth control pills are causing estrogen levels to be increased in our water supply. It's affecting wildlife such as frogs and fish and so on, but it also affects humans. It affects both sexes, and it's no good for us or for developing children, that sort of thing. But anyway, in short, the artificial chemicals, typically plastics or estrogens and that sort of thing, are rampant in our food supply and in our packaging and in our environment, and so it's a huge cause of it's a hormone soup and a hormone disruptor soup that we're living in, and it's affecting both males and females, but men are particularly vulnerable to this increase of estrogen. At one point, I was measured at my blood levels of estrogen were 3 times those of my wife, and that's not where a man is supposed to be at, and it was really impacting my ability to do what I needed to do and to live in a healthy way. Also, chronic stress can contribute to too high of estrogen in men, you'd think that chronic stress would, like fight or flight, would bring out your testosterone, but it's just the opposite, that testosterone levels can spike, or your cortisone levels can spike in response to a short-term stress, that kind of thing. But if it's chronic stress, what happens is the cortisol levels in your body tend to increase, and that causes, it actually converts testosterone into estrogen. So some sources of chronic stress can include psychological chronic stress, such as a lot of pressure, either at work or at home. Also multitasking constantly. We're being barraged by instant messages and text messages and emails constantly at work. It can feel like you're a salmon just swimming upstream in this fire hose of information, never able to really focus on one thing at a time. That can be psychologically distressing. But also physiological stress. I just learned in the past month from having a nutritional analysis done that my blood sugar and insulin levels are highly reactive. So when I eat anything close to a typical American diet, which is high with carbohydrates, sugars, that sort of thing, and then you can get this spike in blood sugar, and then this dump of insulin into your body, from your body into your bloodstream, which then drives your blood sugars down lower, and then your body can hit the bottom after the carbs are burnt up too quickly, and you end up with the situation where your body can feel like it's starving, and that causes physiological stress. That can even happen during the night. If you go to bed feeling like just fine, and then 5-6 hours later into the night, your blood sugar ends up bottoming out because you've burnt up all the fuel in your system. And if you don't have some healthy fats or proteins in there to carry you through that, to prevent that sort of overreactive cycle, you can end up with physiological stress from blood sugar, high, low, and insulin. Okay, so that's what was going on for me, causing my low testosterone, and treatments that you can consider to do something about this, because I tried, the first thing I tried was doing nothing. That's the 0th option, is do nothing, and that was just terrible. I just kept, all those symptoms we talked about at the beginning just kept getting worse over time. And another thing I tried doing was some over-the-counter nutritional supplements, and I have to say that was a very underwhelming response. I ended up taking the recommended dosage on the label of a couple different products, and then taking that at every meal, or taking twice that much at every meal for months. And what it got me off of zero, or not, I was never at zero, but it got me off of the very, very lowest, because I was at the 1th percentile of the range of men originally when I got my first blood test done by my doctor. And it got me off of that level, but not anywhere close to even the low end of normal range. And so those products that at least got me my zinc started and that sort of thing were Tongat Ali, or Testojack root, as well as Ultra T-Male. So these were somewhat helpful. I think they were a baseline. They got me at least started towards some foundational nutritional basis that made it possible for me to go farther. But I still had some serious, I was still having nighttime sweats and stuff. I was drinking a lot of out of plastic water bottles, that kind of thing. So that was the next thing my doctor said, was just quit drinking out of plastic water bottles, and try whenever possible to avoid plastic food containers, that sort of thing. So we, sometimes when we order takeout now from this really nice Italian restaurant that's near us, we tell them, please use the aluminum pans. Even though aluminum isn't the best thing for you, at least it's better than the plastic containers they would normally put hot food in, because sometimes you get those plastic containers and they're actually deformed because they've been kind of halfway melted by the food being in them. That's not good as far as being able to release some of those hormone disruptors into your system. But a couple other over-the-counter supplements that were very helpful. These were recommended by one by Dr. Nielsen, Dr. Jay Nielsen, another by Dr. Terry Chappell of Celebration of Health Association. So the one is calcium D-glucarate, and this actually can convert some of the estrogen in your body into other forms that are not estrogen, so that helps to reduce estrogen. If you know for sure that you need to reduce your estrogen, that's one way you can do it. And another one is a natural progesterone cream. Normally women buy this stuff when they're like premenopausal or perimenopausal, but men can use this too. It's made from wild yams. It's a natural product. You can just buy it at the pharmacy or whatever. No prescriptions needed for any of this stuff. And you put about half a teaspoon of this, and you rub it into a place you have thin skin. In this case, I'm going to put it on my tummy. This, typically at bedtime, till it gets all absorbed in. And once per day, and that helps to lower estrogen levels if you know that's what you need. And please talk to your doctor. They understand this sort of thing. If you talk to your doctor, say, hey, if I used a natural progesterone cream once a day at bedtime to help reduce, if my blood tests show that I have too much estrogen, does that make sense? Your doctor will maybe say yes. And then there was the prescription stuff I absolutely did not want to do. I really resisted, and I successfully resisted that. You've heard and you've seen ads on TV for years about testosterone gels, and like people, it's kind of like an underarm deodorant, but it's testosterone gel. You put it where people, hopefully your wife isn't going to touch, because then she could get it, and that's probably not what she wants. Or there's patches like that if you don't want to be applying it all the time, or there's injections. You can actually get a shot from your doctor for testosterone, or you can actually get a pellet that's injected like into a thick, like into your gluteus or wherever, and it can have extended release over a period of months, so you don't have to be going in for shots all the time to stable things out. But all of those things are direct putting testosterone into your body. There's a whole bunch of drawbacks to this. Number one, for your body's sake, when testosterone like that just gets dumped in there from an external source in that concentrated way, it can actually shut down your body's natural production of any bit that was still doing of testosterone production, and it can actually atrophy or shrivel up your testicles, your gonads, and reduce your body's ability to ever create testosterone. The thing is, that makes you fully dependent on that external source, and heaven forbid if that external source were ever unavailable to you, if there was a disruption in society, or if you just for whatever reason you couldn't get at your supply, you ran out and whatever, it couldn't get refilled, you would be in a world of hurt, because you would be basically disabling in withdrawal from testosterone. So what I was experiencing gradually over a period of years, naturally, would suddenly happen just whammo to you, and you could be just laid flat. That's one of the reasons that Dr. Jay Nielsen, who's been on our channel multiple times as an off-grid preparer, says he won't take, even though he could totally get access to injectable testosterone or even the pellets that could last several months, he won't do it, because he would become dependent on it, and then he could be really out of commission at a time of crisis when he needs to be functioning the most. Another thing that's just really tough about that is that because it's a controlled substance, you can't stock it up. They won't give you more than a 30-day supply. So you've got to keep seeing your doctor, keep getting prescriptions, keep taking those new prescriptions physically into the pharmacy. There's this whole rigmarole you have to go through every month to get a refill of a controlled substance. And you can't stock it up. You can't stockpile it. You can't say, I'd like to have a year or 2 years or 3 years supply. Can't do it. So that's really a big drawback of direct testosterone supplements. So the thing that really opened the door for me, my wife, Melody, you met her, as she often does, rather than relying on as I tend to over-rely on myself, she wisely reaches out for outside information, which is super smart. And we knew about Stephen Herod Buhner because he was the originator, he's a master herbalist, the originator of the Buhner Protocol, or LB Core, for Lyme disease. But if you look up Stephen Herod Buhner, he also has this book on low testosterone, and she got it off of Amazon. It's not that expensive. It's just a thin paperback. But when you get to page 22, he's got his natural testosterone regimen, and it consists of 6 different herbs which work together to support natural, healthy testosterone levels in men. Who knew that pine pollen was high in natural testosterone? So what I did was ordered up those 6 ingredients. 4 of them are available in tincture form, which is really handy because the expiration dates on these are like 5 years out, which is great. So here's the pine pollen testosterone tincture. You can get this from lots of different brands. You don't have to get this brand. Here's the Sanchi ginseng. Here's the Korean red ginseng. And here's the Eleuthero or Siberian ginseng. So those are the 4 of the 6 ingredients that are available that I was able to find in tincture form. And then the other 2 were tribulus and stinging nettle root, both in capsule form. So when you put those, what I did to make it simpler on myself, because I like things when they're simpler, is I just mixed the tinctures in the ratio that he listed, and I make a single bottle, so I only have to take a shot of this at breakfast and dinner, and then take a couple of the capsules of those the other 2, and that's the complete Buhner protocol. And what happened was, after years and years of me struggling and not getting my testosterone into the bottom of the normal range, now my testosterone is square in the middle of the normal range, and I'm not taking any prescriptions at all for that. If the pharmacy closed down, or if I couldn't get to my doctor, I've still got a nice supply of these tinctures and these supplements to carry me through. None of this requires a prescription. But seriously, people, I did it based on having had blood tests. We had my testosterone levels checked, my free testosterone and T3, T4 for thyroid, my estrogen level, my progesterone level. So we knew where I was starting out from, and got the advice of my doctors to be able to do this carefully and one step at a time. Got my estrogen level down. It's no longer 3 times my wife's is. And the cool thing, then mentioned earlier that psychological and physiological stress can cause elevated cortisol levels, which can drive you into high estrogen. Based on some nutritional information from a biochemist, Jack Grogan from NutriHealth, I was now guided that first thing in the morning, take a tablespoon or 2 of cod liver oil to start the day off with healthy fat right off the bat, to signal to your body that we're not going to starve today, and you don't have to start converting, the liver doesn't have to start converting any stored things into sugar. So it starts you off on an even keel right from the bat, rather than this rapidly changing blood sugar and insulin levels throughout the day. Also, eating protein as the first bite of every meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Protein, the first bite, don't go first for the potatoes or the bread or the honey or the whatever it is, the fruit. Save those off, or push them off, or reduce them in general, but try to make proteins and healthy fats the corner piece of the meal, and certainly the first bites, and reduce and defer the carbohydrates until after the body's gotten a firm loading of the stabilizing, slow-burning proteins and fats. So when we talk about healthy oils, there's very limited selection. So cod liver oil, avocado, real butter, coconut oil. That's about it. Virgin olive oil. So, always having a healthy fat snack now before bedtime, because we mentioned that during the night, after 5 hours or so, you can burn up all of the fuel supplies in you, and your blood sugar can start dropping low, and your body kind of panics because it thinks that you're going into starvation mode. So just having a nice, have a half of an avocado or a tablespoon of cashew butter or something like that prior to bedtime, and gets you through that the nighttime better, so less of a crash and panic during the night. And also just reduced physiological stress by increased weight-bearing load training. So weight training. You've seen some of our videos perhaps on Building a Stronger Prepper. If you haven't checked them out, Building a Stronger Prepper talks about how now the workouts are actually starting to make an impact and improve my strength and muscle mass, because I'm supporting my body with the right hormonal environment in which I can actually gain strength. And reducing physiological stress by reducing multitasking wherever possible. And I actually found for myself that listening to relaxing music allows me to really focus better while doing, if I have to do writing or computer work or that sort of thing, or financial stuff. No words, just and removing visual distractions and auditory distractions, and relaxing music helps me. So I hope that these tips are helpful to you, it's been life-changing for me. And again, the biggest plug out of all this that I could give you is check out Stephen Buhner's book, Natural Remedies for Low Testosterone. He'll give lots of other dietary and other suggestions in here as well. But I'll write in the description underneath this video all of these items, and I hope that it's helpful to you. But again, check with your healthcare provider and make sure you have your levels checked so you know what's really going on for you before you start taking actions. And best of luck to you. I'm a living proof that you can go from cripplingly low testosterone levels to normal testosterone levels with no prescriptions. So you guys can do it if you check into it, learn about it, and find out where you're really at and help to eliminate some of those. Oh yeah, plastic water bottles, out. If I drink out of a plastic water bottle, I have night sweats. So it's really tough when traveling. We try to go for glass water bottles or bring along our stainless steel ones. So I forgot to mention that. All right, signing off. Please feel free to write questions afterwards, and I'll see what I can do to help give you the right information or maybe you guys have additional suggestions to help each other out. Thanks so much for listening. Talk to you again on Reluctant Preppers. Take care. Bye-bye. Hey, HealingYourself.life viewers.
We need your help in enabling us to continue to create great health videos for you.
So please support our mission by going to patreon.com/healingyourself and pledging any monthly amount you can.
Your pledge will also help us to afford a new Lyme peptide treatment therapy to improve our memory, and we will report on our progress to benefit you and others.
So remember, go to patreon.com/healingyourself and pledge today.
Were you going to tell them to go to patreon.com/healingyourself to pledge to help our memory treatment?
I thought I did. I'll do it. So please go to patreon.com/healingyourself and pledge today.
Thanks.